Mine's short today. I got a short, quick little joke here for you. You've heard the expression letting the cat out of the bag, but do you know what it's called when you make a bag out of a cat? A puurrrse.
Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
I am Jurassic Mark, and right to my side is good old Skinny.
Good old feeling it.
Feeling it, Skinny.
It is a good day.
This is a good day. How are you?
It's fantastic. It was unusual. We actually got to spend a little more some time together this weekend.
Yeah, we were both at the same wedding.
We're at a wedding together. It's fun.
Sitting at the same table.
And if you're hearing this about the wedding party for the first time, well, we don't want to divulge the information before they do.
No, we'll save it.
Absolutely.
Because if we give too much right up front, then people will know what they shouldn't know. What am I talking about?
Sounds good.
Oh my goodness.
So a big shout out to our wedding people. It was fun it was a total nautical theme.
Yeah, it was good. It was done well. The theme was good. People were it was just, weddings are fun.
There was like instead of like an archway, which would kind of be like, a typical wedding sort of scenario.
Up front, like an arbor kind of scenario.
They had a beautifully cut in half of like rowboat that was all done up. So it was like a freestanding rowboat that was all done with like anchors and rope, and it had a bell on it.
Used it for the ceremony, and then like photo op.
It was really
photo
cool.
Booth kind of thing later on.
Yeah, the minister was amazing.
Yes.
He actually roped in a Titanic reference inside of a wedding.
It was a little dark.
Not easy to do.
Actually, no, it wasn't dark. It was done really well. It was like, did he just mention Titanic while
he never said the word Titanic.
He didn't.
He didn't.
No.
He was very careful to not do that.
But he did sing, or quote, sing? Did he sing the lyrics of the Love Boat theme?
Love Boat. Though there was some Love Boat in there. That was good.
You know what I was impressed by, and then we'll move on, but there was like a DJ/MC guy.
I have not experienced a DJ person like this, because he wasn't just some young guy, flying on it, be cool. His name was Jose.
DJ Jose.
DJ Jose. And he had, I believe he was Filipino or had some kind of...
I think they said Filipino, yeah.
Oh, okay. And he had his song going for all the right things.
He had the
Throughout
cues
all the
lined
speeches,
up.
A speech would end, a little bit of music as it related.
And he was just a natural on the mic.
Let's give a shout out to our bride and groom right now. It was good.
Yeah, we should have had him on the show. Should have seen what DJ Jose was doing today. Okay, well,
He would.
He would what?
I did ask him.
You asked him?
Yeah, but he said, no way, Jose, is what he said.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very disagreeable after that.
He had his own little forget it. I was gonna make a joke. It was so much of a setup. It would waste 5 minutes. I was gonna have like water going to a fountain behind him, and it had two hoses, and he's like, "I'm Jose, that's Hose B."
Nice.
Not worth it.
The big leader. Just go right to the punchline.
Yeah, forget it. Well, welcome to another episode of the Village Idiom. Today is going to be good.
It was a banner week last week. We want to
you were telling me. Fill me in. You know more about this than me.
Well, the tracking app inside of what we do for the Village Idiom. For our first time, we've went over 500 downloads.
Cool.
So that's actual downloads, people listening, over 500. Plus whatever happens on.
We welcome all new Village Idiom children. Do you say villegitimate child?
I just say villegitimate because it rolls off the tongue a little nicer.
Yeah, I always get that idiom in there, village idiomate child. But anyway, whether you like it or not, you are now one of our village idiomate children, and welcome. So glad you're here, because obviously there's some newbies this week.
It's fine. We've been pushing up, but this one finally tipped over 500,
yeah,
which
that's
is
pretty great.
It was a neat landmark. So a shout out to you too.
This week, 10,000.
That's where it goes. 500, 10,000.
We'll see.
It's a big jump.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I love people checking it out, and I love that people are checking it out and sticking around, listening to like the most current one, and then pulling up the old ones and catching up to where we are today.
We'll attempt to not disappoint. Should be a fun episode. We want to give a particular shout out to our friends over at Podcoin for throwing us up as a bonus
podcast listening app that we stumbled across, and
we really enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's got a neat little thing where as you're using your podcast listening time, you're also accruing points that you can exchange in for like gift cards or even cooler things, which is what I'm kind of endeared to them. You can like if you're interested in helping out, or giving food to the poor, or
reducing
your carbon footprint, or whatever kind of floats your boat in a help the world sort of way, you can contribute your pod coins
so you still earn points, but instead of cashing in on your own whatever gift card of some sort, you can
help the world somehow.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat idea.
Share the love.
So a shout out to you. A shout out to Podcoin. It's a banner week. We're excited.
I'm going to come back and talk to our Podcoin specific Village Idiom children at the end.
Sure.
So don't let me forget.
You got it.
Because I want to mention them.
Well, what is today's episode anyway?
All right, let's get into it. Before we announce the title, because I don't want to, you know. Let's listen to this.
Our main concern is that we're allowed to continue our work.
Yes, that is very important.
Very important.
But my concern is, I feel like the cat is sort of already kind of out of the bag.
I think what they're saying is the cat is out of the bag. They want us to put the cat back inside the bag.
No, I know that's what they're saying, but I'm saying the cat's already out, so it's hard to put the cat back
It's
in the
impossible.
But that's why they have that saying, because if
It's
the
a
cat is out of the bag, you
nonsense
can't
saying.
put it back in the
I
bag.
put a cat in a bag all the time.
But once the cat is out of the bag, aren't you like, oh, the cat is out of the bag?
We just want to shove that cat back in the bag.
The cat has been out of the bag before, and yet people lose interest and put it back in.
That was a long one. But they just kept going. The idiom of the day, today's title of this episode is letting the cat out of the bag.
The cat is out of the bag. But, without knowing what you were going to be doing with that, my immediate reaction is, you can put a cat back in a bag.
Well, that's actually, so when you do a little research on letting the cat out of the bag, the idiom, a lot of people are referencing it as a longer one. You can let the cat out of the bag, but you can't. It's easy to let the cat out of the bag, harder to put it back in.
Granted, it would be more challenging to put a cat in a bag, but I don't think it would be that hard. Like, you grab that cat by the nape, and you you grab him right by the nape, and you toss him. He's back now, thus in the bag.
You can really battle with cats, though. You've had cats.
I love cats.
Some of them are...
They have an ornery disposition, and some are just placid.
Quick story before we get into the correct usage of this idiom. I was with, that I used to be in a band. We traveled around, and we were being billeted at someone's house. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, we're going to take off. Listen, our cat is not the friendliest cat. If you want to put it away, just put it in this room. Put it
in the bag.
Yeah. So anyway, we're sitting there watching TV. The homeowners aren't even there. And this cat is sitting on the arm of the chair that I'm at. And I'm petting the cat. I'm like, the cat's fine. Cat is fine. And with no warning at all, it chomped onto the space between your thumb and your pointer finger, and they bit in there and wouldn't let go. I'm shaking it, not letting go of my hand. Blood is coming out of my hand, and I finally whip it to the ground. I'm not making this up.
Did you whip it
good? I whipped it real good. And this is what happens. So it starts hissing, and like out of a movie. I've never seen Demon Cat other than in a movie. This is real life. And it's hissing and coming towards me. I'm like kind of pushing it away, but it would swipe and hiss and claw and whatever. Four grown men are on one side of the room standing like, oh man, what are we going to do? And we're backing down a hallway. And then this happens. The cat, I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. The cat goes up on its hind legs only, paws in the air, and just starts walking to us like this, hissing.
Red rum, red rum.
And we're like, ah. And it got so bad that we had to like skirt around it, lure it into a room, slam the door, my hand's still bleeding, and they come home.
The cat's name Linda Blair?
They come home, we're telling them this story, and then the guy just super calmly, I told you it's not a friendly cat. Like, I told you that before I left. I'm like, yeah, I had no idea. You should have this thing put down.
On a scale of 1 to 10, your cat is possessed.
Anyway, it was, that cat should have been put in a bag.
On a scale of 1 to 10, your cat is a 666.
Yes, exactly. Oh, this cat has 666 lives. So the correct usage of the idiom, letting the cat out of the bag, is, of course, it means you reveal facts that were previously hidden to expose a secret or to tell previously untold details. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's referred to like as accidental thing, like, the surprise birthday is blown because Skinny let the cat out of the bag when he mentioned those details.
I wasn't supposed to say that?
Yeah.
Well, the cat's out of the bag
now. But it
now.
doesn't have to be. You can pre-warn people. You go, okay, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag and reveal something. So that's how it's used. And I think it's one of the more common, like it's regular life language.
When something, like when you're on the inner circle of a variety of circles and you don't always remember who knows what, And so a bunch of smaller groups and who knows what between each group. Perhaps it's in a business setting or something. You're like, I don't even remember who knows what.
Or just everybody talking behind each other's backs.
And you leak out the information.
Right.
I didn't know that. It's like,
let the cat out of the bag.
But in the possibility of the cat going back in the bag, it's like letting Pandora out of the box. But that seems more like nefarious. Like Pandora is not going back in the box.
There you go. Yeah.
Whereas I could get a cat in a bag, given
But
enough time.
Pandora
enough
wasn't
blow.
in the box, was she? It was Pandora's box, and there was all sorts of evil in that box.
Once you opened up Pandora's box, it was open. There was no
Right.
putting Pandora. Is she like not in a box?
But I think she is the owner of the box. I don't know what I'm talking
The
about.
box proprietor.
That's right.
I don't know.
Okay,
Is she
so
in the box?
Speaking of
What's
putting
in
a
the
cat
box?
back in the bag, that clip we just heard, which was from the 2016 version of Ghostbusters, by the way. My favorite line, Melissa McCarthy. It's just snuck in there. It's kind of lower volume, where she's like the other Kristen Wiig is going, you can't put a cat back in the bag, and Melissa McCarthy under her breath is like, I put cats in bags all the time.
Exactly. That's what makes you think it's possible.
What a funny line. I put cats in bags all the time.
Well, it got into some interesting finds when we start popping through some of the history.
Well, wait, okay. If that's where you're going, don't just get ahead of things, man.
Well, where did it really come from anyway?
Well, let me tell you something.
I said some words. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind. Origins.
All right, there we go. Origins. It's time
that
for
version
Origins.
has no electric guitar.
I know.
in it.
Did you notice that?
That's
It was
amazing.
missing.
We got some left-right pan issue or something
Yeah,
about.
that's all right.
Either way, what'd you find out for Origins? Where did this thing even come from?
Well, man, okay. I'm kind of proud of myself on this one. I dug deep, and I didn't just dig deep, but like, I'm going to get, we say the dirty, the nerdy of all the origins. So I'm going to give what is out there in the internet, and then I'm going to tell you what I dug a little deeper and found. So there are basically, okay, let's start with the first documented, and the word documented is important in this case because I'm going to tell you something about it later.
Okay.
The first documented use of this phrase in the sense that it's, the way we use it now, revealing a secret, comes from a book review in 1760, or a 1760 issue of the London Magazine, wherein the reviewer is complaining that, here's the quote, "We could have wished that the author had not let the cat out of the bag." Mm-hmm. And so, obviously upset with the author that there was spoilers.
Right.
Spoiler alert. So that's the first documented use of it being properly used like that. So there are two commonly heard suggested origins of this phrase. And the first origin story claims that the phrase refers to the cat o' nine tails.
Yes, I heard this.
You know what the cat o' nine tails is. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
It's like a whipping device.
yeah, exactly. It was a whip, leather whip. It either had 9 strands, or sometimes was described as 3 strands, but each strand was braided with 3 cords. So either way, 9 strands are still involved.
Cat o' nine tails.
Yeah, so infamously, it was used by the Royal Navy as an instrument of punishment aboard its ships. And if there was an undisciplined sailor needed to be whipped, it would scratch the sailor's back. It looked like giant cat claw marks, giving it more force behind its feline nickname. And then the bag part of it would apparently, the cat o' nine tails had to be stored in a bag because of the dry, salty air. It would dry out the leather. So if you had to let the cat out of the bag,
You were getting in trouble.
somebody was getting in trouble.
Someone's going to get hurt real bad.
Now, there's a lot of people who say this is not the origins. This is, yes, it was called the cat o' nine tails. Yes, it was stored in a bag. Not the it's the most disputed one.
Right, I checked. It's not. Snopes says this is a lie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even in Snopes addresses it. Yeah.
Whoever makes that up, it's probably a couple guys in their basement.
It's just a husband and wife.
that are Snopes.
I saw them on a show. It's a husband and wife.
That's ridiculous.
Like,
they
they're-
say it's not true, so I guess it's not.
That husband and wife in their basement say it's wrong. Anyway, it probably is wrong because the other explanation for the phrase is that it was born from a ridiculous bit of livestock fraud. So supposedly merchants would be selling customers live little piglets.
Okay.
And then if they bought the pig, they would put them in a sack for easier transport.
You put
And
them
as
in
soon as
Blankets, actually.
that's they should be. As soon as the customer looked away, they would swap bags, and give them a sack with a cat instead of a piglet?
Well, my immediate skepticism says that that's inaccurate.
Well, you would think, because that's the other thing that people argue
So
is
hypothetically, you're making a business transaction with someone,
Yeah.
and there's something that can give an audible distinguishing between itself being one animal or another.
right.
There's a big difference between a meow and an oink.
The way they squirm inside there.
Sure.
So one argument would be, well, they've been skinned and this is meat.
Okay.
But that's not real. Doesn't really. You're not
Someone's
buying
skinning
piglet.
cats?
You're not buying. No. Yeah, but just to trick the people into thinking they're getting their piglet. They're getting a dead
is terrible.
cat. Right. It's terrible.
Instead of getting a dead pig, you're getting a dead cat. That's not what you paid for.
But the buyer wouldn't know that they've been cheated until they got home and let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, this sounds like a bunch of baloney to me as well.
Totally. But
Or bacon or whatever cat meat is.
whether it's from a real
Kitten meat.
Ew. Whether it's from a real scenario or not, this one is said to be more plausible because there's a second English idiom called pig in a poke. Have you ever heard that one?
Pig in a poke.
Pig in a poke has the same meaning. So pig, poke comes from a French word that means basically sack or bag. And the idea is you don't buy a pig in a poke. You don't buy a pig in a bag because you're not going to know what you get until you open it later. So it's basically...
Why are people doing transactions in sacks? This is just so bizarre.
paper or plastic.
Is that a pig in a poke?
Or burlap.
That's a terrible thing.
Okay, can I put your piglet in a bag for you? Do you want paper, plastic, or
I prefer a blanket.
sackcloth?
Could you put my pig in a blanket?
Pig in a blanket.
I'm going to eat it right away. I'd still like it fresh.
So the reason that this is... So obviously both pig in a poke and letting the cat out of the bag, it refers to false goods being sold, right? So here's the cool part that make this believable, that this might be where it comes from, because versions of this phrase exist in dozens of languages around the world, like literally all over the world, and they all refer to the same thing. Sometimes it'll translate it. It'll either be pig in a bag, or most of them are cat in a bag, and they all refer to being sold false goods.
Interesting.
But like dozens of languages have this. So like Dutch, in kat in de zak kopen. Right?
So all of these cultures, places
German,
around the
die
world.
Katze im Sack kaufen. And you ready for this one?
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this one. Zulu. Ukutenga ungulubebe. Esesekene.
I wouldn't mess with you.
Has a pig in a poke. Cat in a bag.
I haven't been to Africa, but I just don't. The idea of cats and pigs and riding around in some Zulu countryside.
But the fact that
I wouldn't want to upset you.
Right. The fact that they all have the same words in a
Right.
variety of orders.
Well, maybe that one is it.
Means it might be it. But here's where my mind was blown, because when you look up origins to letting the cat out of the bag, they all relatively say the same thing, and they many of them, not all of them, have this one sentence reference that I'm going to read to you that got me on a little rabbit trail on the internet. It said, in a biography of Martin Luther written by Lyndall Roper in 2016, she references a letter written from Johann Agricola to Martin Luther on May 4th, 1530. That's all it says. And you're like, oh, so it was mentioned in a biography. And I'm like, well, does that letter exist? So I go looking for the letter. Can't find the letter anywhere. Lots of letters between the two. Can't find that particular one on that date. So I go to the book. I find the book. I find the page that this is written on.
Okay.
In this book, written.
This is a lot of effort right now.
Yeah, this is so exciting. I feel like I'm the only one.
You're like Indiana Jones of the internet.
I feel like I'm the only one with actual answer of the origin of letting the cat out of the bag. Because listen to this. According to Roper's biography, Agricola describes a dream of Philip Melanchthon's. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Both Agricola and Melanchthon were collaborators of Martin Luther, even though Agricola became an antagonist later on. And this is the dream that she describes, or this is the dream that Agricola describes. It says the dream describes the arrival of an eagle, which is immediately and magically transformed into a cat. The cat is then immediately stuffed into a sack. In the dream, Martin Luther then appears and immediately demands that the screaming cat be released, and so they set it free. That's the dream. Then everybody who hears about this dream, written by Agricola, but about Melanchthon's actual dream, start trying to interpret, what does this dream mean? All the evangelicals are like, it must mean this, it must mean this. The one that's written about the most, they're convinced that the eagle or the cat is the emperor, and the magic or the sorcery that turns it into the cat is represents the godless sophists and cardinals who are preventing the emperor from understanding the truth, and only Luther's arrival, who just happens to be the first systematic theologian of the Protestant Reformation, could let the cat out of the bag, which allowed Charles V to hear the true gospel.
Oh my goodness. That's cool.
Boom.
Touchdown, baby.
And none of that is in the origin stories. If you look up the origins, I'm like, I found it.
I think I've got this one.
Because that's 1530.
1 in 17. Those are pretty good odds for us.
Yeah.
We actually found something cool.
I know. I think I win.
You won the internets for today.
So
that's amazing.
Go ahead. Somebody write in and tell me how I'm,
By the way, that was
completely off.
That was.
And
Whoa,
while
here's
I was
one.
there, I happened to pick up another juicy little nugget about our friend.
I'm going to pause it right there. You probably recognize that voice.
That sounds very
So I'm
Seinfeldy.
going to come back
Jason
to
Alexander.
a little quote that's going to... This is an episode where they find out Kramer's first name. Do you remember that?
No.
I started at the wrong point here, but...
Well, I do have something that I can pop in at the meantime, because I was looking through on the news in ways in which letting the cat out of the bag, and I came across something this year from the Victoria Natural History Society.
Okay.
Actual as in Victoria, as in Vancouver Island on the coast of British Columbia in Canada there. The idea, so the Victoria Natural History Society was putting forth that cats should be registered along with as like dogs. Like
Sure.
you should have cat registry, not just the dog registry, and that cats should be kept indoors. And it was an interesting idea. I want to
Like
run
across
this path
the board,
here.
no matter the cat.
Yes. So from a cat lover's perspective, so this is what the one of the chair people wrote. I think the cat is safer and less vulnerable if inside. You wouldn't put it at risk by letting it roam free.
Okay.
And so they didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. A truly loving person of a cat would never even let a cat out of the
house.
Out of the house. If you truly love the cat, you would protect it. What do you think about that?
Well, if you truly love the cat, set it free. And if it comes back to you,
It's yours.
it's yours.
If not, the raccoon got it.
Yeah, exactly. The guy
We're saying cats kill bird populations, and they're like, well, cats kill rats. It's like, yeah, they kill all sorts of things. Cats are just insidious and trap people in
Sure.
rooms and
Yeah.
walk on 2 feet.
See?
And
Exactly.
and are possessed by Beelzebub.
Totally.
And so I just thought the idea of that this person's perspective, that to be the most loving,
Would be to never...
to never let it out of the bubble.
Right.
That is the most love that you can give somebody, is to take away all of its
freedom.
freedom and experiences. I'm like, that's love. I know.
Yeah, tricky. Don't know.
If you really love your kids, don't let them
Don't let
outside.
them out of
Don't
their
give them
room.
any experiences.
Lock them.
If
Lock
you
them
truly
up.
love that child, you would keep it safe at all times.
Icky.
I know.
Icky.
Did that feel wrong?
Yeah.
And so from this perspective of this cat lover, I just think that their whole premise is faulty. It's backwards. If you truly love
that's a
something,
very possessive, like, I'd like to hear about their own personal relationships with people. What is that like?
It's like
That's not good. I feel bad because I started something prematurely. Let me just finish it.
that's never happened to me. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Kramer has entered the room.
Oh, what's so funny?
They're going to say his first name.
Okay, so you know the name now, huh? The cat is out of the bag.
There you go. The cat is out of the bag. Did you come across this story? Speaking of literal cat in a literal bag, there was a tweet just a little over a year ago. This kid wrote about his dad's friend, and so apparently this guy, his name is Barry. He had a early flight to catch, and slept through his alarm.
Sure.
And when he woke up, he realized he had less than an hour to be on this. Obviously, the tweet was much shorter, but it went viral, and there's whole news about it. So he wakes up in a panic. He hadn't packed the night before. Literally grabs the clothes that are just sprawled across his bed, throws them in a suitcase, slams it shut, and takes off.
I hear what's happening.
Yeah, gets to the airport, gets pulled aside, Because guess what? When he grabbed all those clothes, he grabbed his own cat. He packed his cat in his bag.
This is not
and
good.
had no idea.
Imagine if that went through. By the time you got to the other side, you'd have a dead frozen cat in your bag.
You get to your hotel. Oh,
Fluffy's kind of stiff.
Oh no. Oh, that's awful.
The thing would be then is that if that did happen, would you know whether the cat was dead or was the cat alive?
Well, you'd know when you open your suitcase.
Well, in the meantime, that is the exact situation of Schrodinger's cat.
Oh, yes, it is.
Letting Schrodinger's cat out of the bag.
You have more odds of it being dead when you know where that bag is.
Well, I got going through on this whole idea of getting what happens when you let Schrodinger's cat out of the bag. It's like Schrodinger's cat walks into a bar, and he doesn't.
Oh, no. And he doesn't.
All at the same time.
Is that your joke?
No, that's not my joke. But it's true.
That's a joke. So, Schrodinger's cat walks into a bar, and he doesn't.
Okay, well, let me get to my joke then. Why did Schrodinger's cat simultaneously cross the road and not cross the road?
I don't know.
To get into superposition.
See, now you're getting into... We don't have time to go into this kind of philosophy. People are going to
For all
have
you
to...
physics lovers out there.
You got to go Google this on your own.
That is a joke for you. That is a joke for all my physics-loving, village-idiom children out there.
Oh, my goodness. There's people going, what are they talking about right now?
The cat is in superposition.
That's good, though.
Letting Schrodinger's cat out of the bag.
That's really good.
Yeah. It's a fantastic joke for like two people.
Yeah, exactly. Again, we could talk for an hour just on Schrodinger's cat and the philosophy behind it and all that kind of stuff. But the
quantum, the science behind it.
That whole conversation has always driven me crazy.
It has, and it hasn't driven you crazy.
Okay.
Equally.
Okay, well, you gave your joke. I'll give mine,
Sure.
and then I got a quick story to follow up.
Sure.
Mine's short today. I got a short, quick little joke here for you. You've heard the expression letting the cat out of the bag, but do you know what it's called when you make a bag out of a cat? A puurrrse.
Did you make that? That's brilliant.
Is it? Oh, it's terrible.
That's the fantastically shortest joke you've done.
That's true. That's the shortest joke.
That was great.
Okay.
Oh, I
so
love
the
it.
reason I came, the reason I was able to make that joke
That's good.
is I came across. I'm like, somebody must have done this. Sure enough, New Zealand. Somebody found roadkill, this cute little tabby cat, and made a purse out of it. Sold it on New Zealand version of eBay. I can't remember what it was called. And I'll post it in Instagram. We'll give you our Instagram account later on because this is a creepy looking purse, and it's sold for 500 New Zealand dollars.
Letting the cat out of the bag, I guess it would really depend on what kind of bag you had, because there's assumption that it's like a sack. Like,
right.
but it could be like an Yves,
Like a
Saint
cinched off
Laurent or a
burlap.
Gucci bag, or
Oh,
I know, letting the cat out of the Chanel 2.55.
or it could be just a plastic Safeway bag. It gets worse depending on the bag.
I was trying to elevate it like a Prada or something.
Fair enough.
Yves Saint Laurent is like a, that big name brand.
Paris Hilton probably walks around with a cat in the bag.
Maybe.
Right.
If it was Gucci.
Maybe Paris Hilton bought the New Zealand bag out of a cat.
Is it inverted? Or is
it's like a square purse looking thing with its head in one corner just staring. It still that's why it's a legitimate taxidermist did this.
Okay.
Collects roadkill all the time apparently. And she's like, there's no harming of animals. This was roadkill.
That's
and
funny.
she had it in her freezer for a few months before she got to it.
It just doesn't seem right.
No, it's gross. But
Let's get into some...
I'll post the picture of that.
Sure, yeah. We got to be tying it up soon here.
Yeah, we should. We're running out of time. This has been a good conversation. So a quick shout out. Nobody correctly answered last week's Riddle Link.
Interesting.
So it's been a while since that's happened. So last week's Riddle Link was what a Flora colossus from Planet X would say to define a turnip. So I'm not going to give the answer, but I will do one shout out because someone who was so close and has never played before. So big shout out to Tall Canuck Chick.
Nice.
Who gave it a go.
I love her. She's
So
great.
I'll leave that one hanging. We'll have a new one for today. Hopefully somebody from maybe from Podcoin get involved for the first time. We'd love. You know what? Here's the thing. I said I'd come back to Podcoin, and if you're a Podcoin listener of the Village Idiom podcast, if you reach out on Instagram and make contact at all, whether you guess the riddle link or whether you're just saying hello, you will get a shout out next episode.
That sounds good. We'll give them some credentials before we get in. You can always find us on Instagram at the.village.idiom or straight through contact to Gmail at thevillageidiompodcast@gmail.com. Or if you're looking for us on YouTube or Facebook, search for 3 Minutes Gone.
All one word.
All one word. Number three. So 3 minutes gone.
All right.
Fantastic.
So,
I do have a couple riddles for you.
Well, if you're new to the show, Riddle Link is a game Skinny and I play that is a 2-part sort of trivia-based riddle that requires a 2-part overlapping answer. And you'll get the hang of it when you hear one or two. What do you got for me?
Okay. Ron Burgundy is a wild, free-ranging domestic feline.
Will Ferrell cat.
Nice.
Yep, that was beauty.
It's a Will Ferrell cat.
Will Ferrell cat. As soon as I got Will Ferrell, I'm like, I hope it's as short as that.
Will Ferrell and a feral cat.
Yeah, there you go. Overlapping. Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
Any member of the cat family in a row with synchronized choreography. Any member of the cat family in a row with synchronized choreography.
Feline dancing.
That's it. Feline dancing. Feline and line dancing. Give me another one. This is good. We're on a roll today, man.
Okay.
I'm feeling
this
good.
one's a little harder.
Woo!
This one's a little harder. Calendar restart party.
Okay.
For this French fashion designer.
New Year's Eve Saint Laurent?
Yes!
Oh, man.
Good for you. Oh, you pulled that. That's a hard one.
Wow.
You pulled that cat out of the bag.
Wow. How did you tie that one into our theme? New Year's Eve and bag. Designer bag.
I went with the bag just
Yeah,
to
that's
break
good.
it off of cats.
Okay, I'm going to give one more, and this time we are leaving it hanging. So everybody who's listening, this is where you get involved, and we want you to be involved. And if you have better ones, send them our way.
Absolutely. We love this stuff.
This is Riddle Link for Letting the Cat Out of the Bag episode. It goes a little something like this. Who spoiled this secret in Iraq? Who spoiled this secret in Iraq?
Interesting.
That's it. That's all I got.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing from you and for the rest of this. I am Skinny.
And I am Jurassic Bigglesworth Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
Nothing you can really do about it now. Cat, this is the kitty cat, yeah. The cat's out of the bag, yeah.
Last 3 minutes gone.